Chair.
Bruno Tirakato.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm pleased to take a call on this committee stage of this, the Judicature Modernisation Bill. Sir, I do note this is a significant piece of legislation. It's been a long time in the making, but it's also been it goes all the way back, I guess, to the the pillars of our constitution with the courts. And I was just surprised to learn, just by way of trivia, sir, that it goes all the way back to the year after the treaty when the courts were first established. And I found that quite fascinating. Those were the first measures that our young colony took to establish our courts, our High Court. And it's only been updated significantly by twice since 1841. It was done in the 1880s, and then we had the Judicature Act of 1908, which we are now finally modernising through the passage of this bill, sir. So I want to actually focus on, this is quite a sizable piece of a bill, but I have been doing some speed reading, and I do want to actually go just focus on what I've picked up on in part one, because I do remember, sir. It's a proud moment. Anyone who gets admitted to the bar and becomes a barrister and solicitor, it's quite a proud moment. And I do think back many years when I signed the roll and took the oath over the road there. So it's nice as a member who has practice and as part of the legal community, and as a solicitor in years gone by, that we are updating and modernising our court system. And part one, sir, deals with putting all of our senior courts into their own act of Parliament. And so that's that is a very sensible way of approaching structuring all of the sequential amendments that are taking part. So part one is consolidating all of our senior courts, which is the High Court, the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, into one piece of legislation, and it goes into great detail also around the appointment of judges. And so that's where I want to pick up, because if we look into Clause 6A1, sir, I just have a question for the Minister in relation to the actual number of judges. And so in that clause, sir, it says that the total number of judges must not exceed 55. Now, and I understand that provision is actually in the current Judicature Act, and it goes back quite a few years. But my question is, why is it set at 55? What is the calculation that has come to that magical number? And also, sir, why we've set a maximum number, but we haven't set like a minimum number? And so, sir, why is there not a minimum number of judges at any one time? Why haven't we placed a cap on that? And so I'd be interested if the Minister could perhaps address that point, because I think it's very important. If, for instance, we've got a population of 4.5 odd million Kiwis, and we only have a capped number of 55 judges. That's quite, not too many judges per head of population. So I'll be interested, because this number has been carried over. It hasn't been changed. And so I was just wondering, why have we not looked at that? And I understand that the Law Commission didn't address this point, but I think it would be good to know if there is a formula, if there is some reason why we only have a statutory capped number. And another reason why I say that, sir, is because, my goodness, sir, I have been somewhat bamboozled by the different types of judges that we now have in this legislation. So we have, in addition to the judges of the courts at each level, so we have got additional judges. We have got associate judges. We have got acting judges. We have got part-time judges. So there is a wide array of different... Sir, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sir, there is such a wide array of judges which are now... We are modernising the law, sir, but, sir, I have just been absolutely quite confused by the different types of judges that have now been put into this modern piece of legislation. And the reason I say that, sir, is because if we look at the 55 numbers, if we look at the number, we have a cap number of 55 High Court judges in Aotearoa, New Zealand. We can't go over that amount. But there are always exceptions that they put into the legislation. And so I was intrigued to see that the Governor-General can appoint additional judges to the 55, but only in the case where a judge is anticipating retirement or on leave pending retirement. And so that begs the question, sir, why don't the judges just retire? Why do you have to bring in an additional judge in anticipation, or while the judge takes leave before to retire? And then that exceeds the cap. So then they've had to put in a statutory exception which exceeds the cap of 55. And so it goes further, because I think we do need to look at these, because there is a limit in an age limit. I forget the section concerned, sir, of 70 years of age. So a judge cannot hold office unless they're 70 years of age. Unless, sir, and then unless you are a acting judge. In that case, sir, you can go for an extra 5 years. And so I think, sir, why cap judges at 70 years of age, and yet they can continue on as a judge until they're 75 years of age? Why don't we just set the limit at 75? Why do you? Because in many instances, those judges just carry on and they just give themselves a new label, whether it's acting judge, part-time judge, associate judge, whatever judge. So why don't we just give them a 75-year limit and leave it at that? Don't give them leave and give them a different title while they're pending retirement. Because I also want to return to the point, sir. These are very valid points that I'm raising. This is very important, because this is the High Court of New Zealand. These are senior judges that we're talking about, and I think these are very valid questions that I think I would like the Minister to address. The final point, sir, that I would like to make, we've addressed the point about the age limits. As we know, 70 years of age is also quite relatively young. I know of two candidates running for the President of the United States of America. Both of them are just hitting 70 years of age right now, sir, or thereabouts. Sure, one might be a bit ma-wee-wee at the moment, but sir, they are going for the highest office in the world, the leader of the free world, and they're 70 years of age now, and we're cutting off our judges at 70 years of age, sir. I think consideration should be given to extending that retirement age, sir, yes, right through to the 75 limit, which is already allowed in an exception circumstance. So, sir, this may seem a bit dry, and it is very arcane, a lot of this stuff, a lot of the subject matter in this bill, sir, but it is very important that if we are modernising, if we are trying to rejuvenate our court systems, and in particular our senior courts, then what I find, sir, lawyers, they love to consider every conceivable scenario, and then they can draft for it and add exceptions and to any legal drafting that takes place. And that's what I see here, sir. There is a lot of exceptions and different labels and terms and for different terms of office. But at the end of the day, sir, we just want qualified senior members of our judiciary, the best jurists in the country, to be able to hold those very esteemed office and responsibility that they have in those roles. And I do believe, sir, that some of the provisions in this so-called Modernisation Act are actually leading to maybe a bit more confusion. But then again, sir, I haven't gone back to the Judicature Act of 1906 or 8. So yes, that could be addressed, sir. Thank you.